Now, in part two of that video on patterns that might not be directly coming from the bloodline, from your immediate parents or environment. Now, have you ever seen that situation where a family suddenly out of nowhere, they will just bet an albino, right? They'll give birth to an albino. Or maybe they haven't been an albino in like 4 or 5 generations away. That's a perfect example of what I'm trying. I'm trying to bring in something very practical so that you can understand what I mean. So if you've seen such situation, they'll be like, the father is black, oh, the mother is black, oh, why is the child albino? Are you seeing it? Sometimes when they begin to, I've seen situation where they say, do you know the father, our father that we had was albino? He was like, it was like 5, 6 generations ago that we had that was such a thing existed in the bloodline. So why did it come back? Sometimes they just want to come and make this announcement. It's just there. If it's there, it is there. And sometimes it's just going to pop out of nowhere, especially, this is just an example I'm giving. So yeah, it could happen. It could happen with these patterns I'm talking about. Yes, it happens with that pattern. Now we can't even say that this example I gave is not a bad, it's not bad necessarily, but I'm trying to tell us that even the negatives in quotes comes up that way. Maybe something strange happened in the bloodline and everybody think it's over and forgotten, and one day it just resurfaces and two or three people are getting two or three people in the family or one person is getting hit by it. And you know that moment when you sit down, you're feeling something, and you know that this pain is not mine. This pain is not mine. This thing I'm feeling is not mine. You get what I mean? This pain I'm feeling is not mine. So whose is it? Something is crying out. Something is trying to express through you. Something wants to be healed. Something wants you to tend to it in the bloodline. It goes as deep as if you're trying to, if it goes now, there is something the Igbos call Igbochionono. They will tell you Igboalo and Igbochionono. This is an attempt actually. This concept like the Igbos listening to it to understand what I'm saying. This concept I just talked about is actually a way of trying to break certain patterns in the bloodline. But it doesn't end there. It shouldn't end there. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It doesn't end with just those physical rituals. What about the internal work of actually breaking those patterns? What about the internal work of actually healing the bloodline? You see what I mean? So these things are really deep. It's all an attempt to do what? To heal the bloodline. To close, they say it's Igbo children, to close that loop, to close that grave, to close that evil that's been done, to scrap it off the bloodline, to erase it off the bloodline. That's why they do those rituals. So you see that healing is a big deal. It's really a big deal. So whatever you're struggling with, and you feel like you've really tried to get rid of it and it's still hovering around you, I think it's time to sit with it, and begin to ask which ancestor struggled with this thing. What do you want me to do? This is not mine to carry. I refuse to carry this forward. You have to intentionally feel their pain. Feel their pain. Feel what made them do that. That's the main work. Feel what made them do that. And then you can heal that. When you feel it, when you feel their pain and send healing to them and drop the garbage, and then you create new pathways for yourself. Right? So this is just a continuation of the previous video on that, okay?